A few weeks ago, we had our class on how to make a flower for Second Life. And we made this little, very low geometry game asset Peonie. Unfortunately, I lost connection right at the end of the class, and I also forgot to record the whole thing. So I figured it might be a good idea to make this video so people who want to go back and see what we did, or people who want to catch up, has that option. So I'm in Blender 4.3.2 right now. I'm pretty sure what we're doing you could do in the news Blender as well though. I'm also going to use Krita, a free drawing program. I am very much not an expert in Krita, I'm usually in Photoshop, but I used it first time making this peony, but we'll see how that goes. First of all though, I need a fresh Blender file, so I'll see you there. Right, so here we are in a blank Blender file. By the way, I know my Blender's not looking like yours, probably. It's just colors, different. Everything else is, I think, looking like it would look with you as well. I just made my own color theme. Other things I should probably let you know. Let's see. But I also have this one on, and it's going to nag me about saving my file constantly, and it's super annoying and super effective. So if you don't have it, grab it because it's really good. You get it from here, and I'll put a link to it in the video description. A tiny add-on, but it is really good. You will see it as we are working, how annoying it is. You can't really overlook it, and it will make you save your file. I also have my statistics here and my face orientation here. I've set it up so it's red on the back side of the faces. So if I remove a face here, you can see my cube is red on the inside and not colored on the other side. That's something I set up in my preferences as well. Let's see if I can find it here. So under themes, 3D viewport, if you scroll down, you have face orientation back. That one is red. And then I have face orientation front, it's black, but I have alpha all the way, so it's actually invisible, this color on the front of it, because I just want my matte cap showing here. So that's the way I've set this up. It's very effective. It will show up right away if you have a face that's turning the wrong way, that you don't want to be like that, and you need to flip things back. Let me get my face back there. Okay, so we have our screencast keys here, which are not entirely working, but it will help you a little bit. I'll try to remember to also say what I'm doing. In the outliner, we just have the cube here now. I could rename that to Peonie right away so I don't forget. And always remember to rename it down here as well. This is the name it will have when you upload to Second Life. So it's a good idea to keep those two consistent. You can use Goon's tools. Let's call this cube again, just so you see what it does. Where if I click that one and then click rename object data, it will fix it all. That's really handy. Okay, so we want to make a stem. I know already that I don't need the top or the bottom of my stem, so I'll just remove them right away. Good. I want it tall and thin, so I'm going to scale on X and Y, but not on C or Z. I'll just call it Z from now on, because I'm Danish and I can't hear the difference between C and C. Okay, so I'm going S, Shift, Z. Now I'm only scaling on 2 axes, not on Z. Okay, so when I move my mouse, I will just thin my cube, and I can do it again when I run out of space for scaling my mouse. I don't want to go over here, then I'm turning my faces inside out. Okay. Now I also want it to stand up here instead of being down there. So if I go to vertex select by hitting 1, I can go to my front view by hitting 1 on my numpad. And if I hit 5 as well, I'll go to orthographic view. See, it's a toggle. And then I can move my entire thing up here. So G, Z, and something like that. If I wanted to, I could zoom in to get this more precise, but this is fine. Okay, so here's my stem. I might want it taller. I think it was a little taller on the other image we looked at. So let me just move this up, G, C or Z. Something like that. Okay. Right now it's just straight, and I'm going to keep it like that for now. Now I want my flowers. So I can introduce a plane here by hitting Shift A, plane. And because I'm in edit mode, it will come in as an edit mode as well, so I can move it around without affecting my origin, which was down there. So I can move this up, G, Z again. Somewhere around there. And it's all centered, and that's nice. Now I could just keep it flat. There will be some kinds of flowers where that might be okay. For peony with so many layers of petals, I need to bend this a bit. So I'm just going to connect the corners. So hit 1, shift click the next one, and hit J for join. Do the same the other way over. J, and now you get a vertex there in the middle. I don't want to touch that one. I want to touch all the others. I just box select here. If you hit T, you can select your selection method here. Usually I actually enjoy having that one, but let's go to box select here. And if I hit T, that one's gone again. So now I'm just holding shift while I box select all the way around, and now I have all the others except the one in the middle. And I can move those up a bit. So let's see, G, Z again, something like that. Here you see my faces are turning down, right? That's fine with me at the moment. I need to move everything down a little bit. If I want to select this entire plane and not the stock, I can just hover my mouse over one of the vertices here and then hit L, and it'll give me everything. And now I can do G, Z, and bring it down a bit so it looks like it's connected. It doesn't have to be connected, but this is a little easier. Oh, like that. Okay, so this is the base of my flower right now. It's a little bit difficult to work with right now because I don't have a flower on here yet. It's just a shape, right? So we need to fix that. Also, while I'm here in object mode, everything is very edgy and corners and yeah, you see. So I don't want that for an organic form like a flower. So I'll right click and shade smooth. Right now it just looks like a flat plane. It's not, but I removed all the shading that turned all my edges really sharp, and it will help my stem to look more round, which means that 4 sides on the stem is more than enough. I don't need 10 or more to make it look round. This is fine. I might even crop this to even just be triangular in shape and keep this shading smooth, and it should look okay still. When you're making a game asset, it's all about cheating your way to get something that looks right without using too much geometry on it. Now, you see this down here? That's that little stupid add-on that starts annoying me. A little red line will start growing here with time, and when it reaches the end, my entire workspace will start getting red. At one point, I can't see what I'm doing any longer, so I'm kind of forced to save. But let's wait for now, because I need to show you how to get a flower on here. Right now we have no materials, and that's fine. We don't need it right now, but we will soon. And that means we need a picture of a peony, because most of this will be made in textures and not so much in geometry. And that means I need to figure out where to find a peony I can use for this. Now, if this is just for me playing on my computer, I could get a peony anywhere. But if I want to put this into Second Life, I need to make sure that my texture I'm using or my image I'm using is actually free to do that. And that is why I find most of my material for something like this on Wikimedia Commons. So let me see you over there. So here we are in Wikimedia Commons. This is free pictures, but some of them are freer than others, and that's why I'm dragging you over here to have a look at it, so we can have a little talk about licenses. Now we needed a peony, so let's search for that, and we get a ton of images here, and many of them are really pretty and we could use them. But keep an eye out, because something like this, for example, well, there's a bee, but okay, an image like this has a license called Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 4.0. Had it just been Creative Commons Attribution, that would have been okay. You would need to give credit to the person who took this picture, Stefan here. And that's fairly easy to do. If you have a product and you're going to sell it on Marketplace, stick a note card with it and credit the person who took the photo. That's not so difficult. And you also need to make a link to the license, but you can get that just by clicking there and then use this link, right? But share alike, that means that whatever you do with this image needs to be share alike as well. So if you're creating some kind of artwork where you're using this image, then you need to release that artwork free as well for people to use under the same license. So it's free, yes, but with a few conditions. I'm trying to steer away from share alikes in my work, because if I want to do something that I want to sell, then things turn a little complicated at times. Attribution I'm absolutely fine with, but share alikes I'm trying to steer clear of as best I can. Other really free licenses would be public domain, for example. Those you don't even have to credit and you don't have to share alike. But if we are a little bit careful, we can find a peony down here that is just with the attributions, I think. This one is public domain, and I think that was the one we used for our class. So as you see, it's Creative Commons 0 public domain dedication. This one is fine, you can use it for anything you like. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to open Krita. You can get it from here. It is a free open source program, just like Blender is. And we'll see if we can get this peony cut out so we have a transparent background and just a flower that we can stick on our plane in Blender. So here we are in Krita. I just took a screen capture of the peony in Wikimedia Commons, and that means I can just Control V, paste it into here. But when I do that, it's asking for missing color profile Krita. I have no idea what this means. I've gone with as on monitor, and that seems to work. So let's do that. Here's the flower. It's not quite filling up my image. By the way, I just went new and then went for 1024 by 1024. That's probably a little bit too much, but we can always scale down that image later on. For now, it's just for working. So we might as well scale it up till it fills out our canvas here. So just as in Photoshop, if you do Control T, you will get a transform menu. It's also that icon there. Now, if I just drag here, I can drag it completely out of shape, but if I hold Shift while I do it, I'll keep my aspect ratio of the selection here. So I'm just dragging it until it fills out my frame here. Pretty much. I can also move it. Yeah, something like that. I don't know how to get that one to go away again, except if I move to another tool over here. So let's just do that. I need to separate the flower. In Photoshop, I know that there's a tool where I could just click and it will select the flower if I'm lucky. I haven't been able to find that tool here, unfortunately. It may be here and I just don't know it. So feel free to comment and let me know if there is one. But if I can't find it, I can just select freehand. It doesn't really matter with something like that, as long as you don't get a lot of the green stuff. I mean, if you accidentally draw a little bit inside the petal here, that is absolutely fine. Nobody will notice. But this is the freehand selection tool. It works very much like in Photoshop, where if you hold Alt, you will subtract from the selection, and if you hold Shift, you will add to the selection. So let's go here. I can zoom in a little bit. I just need to be able to see the entire flower. Well, okay, we'll do it this way then. I am keeping it a little bit inside to not get green stuff here. A little bit boring work, especially difficult when you just have a mouse like I do right now. But as I said, you don't have to be super duper specifically carefully catching every little thing here. It might be different with other flowers, but on this one it's not that important. See? So now my hand glitched and I stopped the selection, but that's okay. I can just hold Shift and then continue on over here. Whoop, I got some green stuff there. That's fine, we can remove that in a moment. So if I end it on purpose here, I can go and I can hold Alt and I'll be able to remove that little green stuff we got there. And this way I can refine my selection by either holding Shift or Alt to add stuff here. See? And keep going down here. I got a little bit of green stuff there as well. Green stuff. Green leaves, sorry. Okay. I could refine this more, but let's not, because the video will get way too long then. Okay, so here's my flower, but I have selected the flower and it's actually the background I want to get rid of. So if we go to select, there should be an invert selection here. There we go. And now I can just hit delete. Right now my background is white, but I also do have an invisible layer here. In order to get this selection to go away, in Photoshop I would do Control D. That's not working here, but if I use Shift Control A, I will get the selection to go away. And as you can see, I have a little bit of issue here. It's not much though. I could remove it if I wanted to. Apparently I seem to want to do that. There. Okay, here's my flower, and I just need to save this as an image, and then I am ready for our little flower in Blender. So I'll save this and I'll see you in Blender. So we're back in Blender now, and as you can see, I've taken a little while to get back here and my screen is now completely red. It's easy to fix. I just do Control S since I already saved this file, and I get my workspace back. We wanted our flower petals to be stuck on this plane, so it looks like a flower, and that's fairly easy. We make a new material here. Actually, let's make one for the stem first. Let's go to shading to see what we're doing. Okay, this is my shading tab. I have a asset library here. Let's just do an U editor here. And this is my start of my material. Right now I'm just light gray. For the stem I don't really need an image. I just need it to be green. So let's do that. That's very bright. Let's turn the greenness down a bit. Perhaps even a little bit more. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so right now we have that material on everything. But if I go to edit mode, I want the flower to be out here. So let's make a new material for that one. And call it Peonie. Or petals, perhaps. There. We can call this stem. Now the petals we need as an image. I'll turn this white instead of this light gray. Okay, so easiest way is to click this one and then go Control T. I think that's an add-on, possibly, that does that. But if you can't do this, hang on. If you can't do that, you can just do Shift A and then find your image texture over here. Stick that in there. You need a texture coordinate. Let's do an input first, which is there, texture coordinate. And then you need a mapping node, if I can find it. There. So you can build this on your own as well. And then you just connect this color to color. Not generate. I just went from generator. You need to do from UV. Okay, and because this shape is so simple and we made it from a plane we just started on, it's already unwrapped here, so we don't have to do anything really. If we weren't lucky like that, I could just hover over one of them, hit L, and then do U, and C, and it would unwrap for me. I mean, look, if I scramble this somehow, now it's looking really stupid. And let's try again. U, C, and it will unwrap for me. I unwrap like this really often, and that's why I remember the keystrokes, because you could just hit, you could go here and unwrap and conformal. That's what I usually use, but it's just so much faster when you use the keys. Okay, so we have our unwrap ready, and I think it looks fairly nice. I mean, I could make it perfect if I go to my UV and constrain to image bounds, and I could grab that vertex and just yank it up there. And do the same on all the others to make sure I fill out the entire texture. I think that's fairly nicely centered, not perfectly, but thereabouts. Okay, so we want our image on it. Right now, my material looks pink. That's because I haven't specified any image here yet. We are on the material viewport shading, so we should be able to see the material here, but oh, right now we haven't told our material that it needs to go here. So back in edit mode, with this top part selected, we need to go assign. So let's find our flower here. If you click on this little icon, you can see your images. So I want my peony, open image, and there it is. But as you can see, it's not looking very transparent at the edges yet. That's because I haven't connected this. So we need to connect the alpha from the image texture to the alpha of the principled BSDF. And here it looks like we got it. Now the flower is not entirely centered. That's because it's not entirely centered on the image. So if we go to edit mode, you can see that my little vertex there is not at the center of the flower, but it's easy to fix because I can just fix my UV map over here until it looks right. So something like that. And there we have our flower, except it's only one layer of petals right now. So to fix that, we need to duplicate our little plane here a few times. Right now it's very reflective, this little thing. So I could bring my roughness up to 1, and that will make it a little bit easier to see what I'm doing. Okay, so we want more petals. So again, let's go over to layout and go to my material preview here. And now I can hover here and hit L, and then I can copy this face. Now we have a little issue here because in Second Life all those faces that show red in Blender will just be completely transparent in Second Life, unless you're making a GLTF material that is double-sided. So if you want your flower to be visible for people who are not on the GLTF viewer, you will have to duplicate this layer and make it face the other way, so we have the backside showing as well. And that it's easy enough to do. We could do it with modifiers if we wanted to. Where is it? With the solidify. That'll look something like that. We could do that. But I find I have more control when I'm just doing it manually. So if I do Shift D to copy my selection, move it down just a tiny little bit, that might have been a bit too much. I'll move it up a bit again. It's still facing downwards red. So I have to flip those faces. So I hit Alt N, and then I can hit F or just click here. So now I have a flower that looks like a flower from the top and the bottom. If you wanted to, you could make a specific texture that would fit on the underside here, so that it doesn't look like the top of a flower from the bottom as well. That would be some cloning work in Krita. Let's see. So here's Krita, here's my flower, and I'm sure there's a clone here over here somewhere. So in Krita, I don't know what a clone tool looks like. I don't even know if it's truly an option here. I found the Smart Patch tool. I don't know exactly what it does. Let's see if I can make the yellow parts here disappear. I have no idea what I'm doing here. I'm just testing. It's doing something. I don't know. Well, it's another color than yellow anyway. It's not exactly what I wanted, but okay. So you could, I know how to do this in Photoshop. I'm not sure how to do it in Krita. But you would have a version of the plant that's looking a bit different, right? So you could do a selection now around the center here and make it green of some sort. So that was patterns. Can we get a color here? Yes. So like that, and then I can color it, and that will be the bottom of it, of my flower, right? And I could save this. So file, save as Peonie back. And it's already suggesting PNG. It has to be PNG because we have alpha in the texture. And save. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, and if we go back to Blender, we could choose our lower plane here and go to materials, make a new materials, call it, I don't know, backside. Assign that. Right now we have no image there, so we need to go to shading again. And it's hiding in here. This time I'm just going to do Control T to get my image set up here. And then I can open the backside image. And if we go to object mode, oh, we need the alpha. There. So now you have a backside. It's not pretty, but it's an attempt. Okay. So that way you go get a backside and a front side of the flower, right? Now it's just one layer of petals, so it's a little bit of a sad peony right now. So we need to thicken it up a little bit. I need both my planes selected, and now I just Shift D to copy and move it up on set a little bit. Let me just move it quite high up here, and let me go to top view. Actually, let's go to layout because we are going to model now. Go to top view with numpad 7. I'm still in orthographic. So right now this plane overlaps the first one, but I can scale it. So scale. Now it's a little bit smaller. Let me save this because this annoys me. So Control S. And if I turn here, you can see my new little plane here is a smaller version of that one. I also want to rotate it a bit so it's not the perfectly same look. So if I rotate it a bit like that, and now I can bring it down. So GZ. It's almost overlapping with the one I already had. So what I need to do is, if I bring it back up, I need to bring this part down a little bit. Now I was lucky when I box selected I got both of them. Sometimes that won't happen. A way to make sure you will get both of them is if you go to X-ray mode by either up here or just by hitting Control Z. So you can see through your mesh. Then you can box select both of them. And I need to bring them down a bit. So GZ. Like that. Now I can select all of them. If I just hit L now, I only get one of them. So I had to get both of them. I could also, when I had this, I could just hit Control plus. That's expanding my selection to the next vertex next to the one I have selected. On this one, it will be all of it. And then I can bring everything down again. So GZ. If I wanted to be super precise, I could also turn on my snapping or just hold down Control. So if I do GZ and hold down Control, I will snap to whatever vertex I hover above. So if I hover above the center of my previous petal, I will snap it to there. So that's 2 layers of petals. I want more than that. So let's do all this again. So Shift D, set up, scale a bit, move my 2 vertices down. I was lucky I got both of them. And then G set down a bit, then Control plus to get it all. And then G set, hold Control and find my vertex in there. Oh, let's do that again. G set, hold Control, click, then let go of control. I forgot to rotate this one, but that's fine. I can go to top view and rotate it now. Now, my flower is still not looking very full. If I go to object mode, it might work. I would like to have a few more layers, perhaps just one. I've scaled quite a lot between the layers. You can choose to scale a little less and they would be closer together, making the flower look fuller. I don't know, I might do that. For now I need one more layer, so Shift D, move up on set, scale in. I think I'm just going to scale on X and Y now, not set. So S, Shift, set. And I'll just get scaled on those two. And then I can do G, set, hold X, and snap there. I would like my flower to be a little bit more rounded here. And that means that I want to move those vertices without moving down here. Easiest way would just be to deselect this one. If I hold C, I will get my circle select, and then I can hold Shift and it will deselect whatever I had down there. And as soon as I right clicks here, my selection is gone again. So now I have the top, and if I go to front view, I can move this up now. So G set again. And this way I can make my flower fuller. I also want these to be moved up, and because everything is so very straight right now, I can just box select and I should get all the way around. Go to front view again and move these up a bit. So you see, you can make the flower a little bit more rounded now. I think I'd like a layer between this one and this one. So let me flatten this a bit. So just scale, bring it out a bit, and then plus to get my center as well. Shift D, bring it up. No, yes, bring it up on C, like that. Let me select that and bring it back down, holding Control. Okay, so now my flower is a little fuller and I can scale it in a bit. I'm trying to get like a rounded shape here. I might want my lowest layer here to be a little flatter actually. So instead of scaling this, I can just bring it down with G set. See? The same with this one. This one's very big. I might have moved a layer around here. Was this the bottom of it all at some point? It might have been. So I can do like that and then bring them up again. See, that looks more right. Okay, so if I go to object mode, I can see better what I'm doing. I think this is fine. So how many layers do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers of petals. And I think that's fine for the flower. I did a copy here somewhere that I didn't rotate. I think it's this one. So if I hold Control plus, I can just get it all here. Go to front, top view, sorry, and rotate this one a little bit too. Now this is very straight, as I said before. I can go to side view or front view and just grab everything in a layer here. That's not how a flower works. So I want to introduce some randomness here. I need to remember to always move those two layers, the front and the back, together. But apart from that, I want to break this up a bit. And that I simply do by snatching a corner and then move it around. This is not an exact art. I'm just breaking up. And that means I will get some layers that are intersecting if I'm not careful. I'd rather not have that, but if it happens, it happens. It's okay. You won't really notice it that much. So you see. Making it less perfect. Making it a little crooked. All right, so you get the idea. Now, it's not really looking like a flower yet. It's all straight and all, and it doesn't have any leaves. The leaves were made exactly the same way. That I found an image on Wikimedia Commons that was Creative Commons attribution, and I cut out some leaves. I don't think we need to go over that again. I have the image in my folder still, so we just need to make a plane here to put the leaves on. So if we go to edit mode and go, I don't think I have anything selected now, so we go Shift A, plane, and this will be our leaf. If I bring that up, GC set, sorry, and I will need a new material on this, so let's call it leaf and assign. And now we get to the shading part again. It is already unwrapped here because it's just a plane, and we have the same setup as usual. So if I click, careful, you only have one selected here or you will get a mess. So just click the principled BSDF and then Control T and then open. And I have my leaves here. They are not pretty, but they'll work for the demonstration. Open image. Now I have my leaf going out from here. And that's because then it's easier to control. So what I want to do is I want to connect those two and connect those two. And then I can move my center here. But I have to move it here as well. So I want this to sort of follow my my leaf structure. So I'll turn on the UV sync section. Now I get everything, but the one I have selected is selected here, and that's the one I'm going to grab. And hopefully I can move it so my leaf will follow. I'm trying to get it moved so that I have it right there on the stem, because now I can move this line down a bit. So G set, and that will give me my leaf a little bit of a shape. I can also bring the tip down a bit, G set. So you see. Okay, so now I have my leaf sort of arranged here. I could move my my image over here as well, because right now I have a lot of stem and not very much actual leaf. So I could move my little, no I can't, because I need to unconstrain to image bound here because I want to move this. So I can move it up a bit. I just need to keep an eye on when is the texture starting to repeat, you see. So not that far up. But if I bring it down a bit again, there, and then I can move this one. See? I still want the stem to end there. I can also move this one in and this one in to have my leaves fill out more, you see? So there we go. I still need to fix the alpha as well. So if I connect alpha to alpha here, that should work. And now I can place my stem down there. before I move the leaf down, I want to fix the stem here because it's terribly straight right now. I want to introduce some edge loops here. First I want to save this, so Control S, and let's go back to layout. There. Okay, so the stem. Edge loops, I need to introduce a few. So I do Control R, and you see that little yellow line. If I scroll my mouse wheel, I will get more. And I think 3 is probably fine for now. And when I double click, they just sit there. So that's good, except I want one up here as well. So I can do it again. And if I click once, I can move it along this. So I'll just move it all the way up here, like that. Now I can bend this top of the flower. That was my goal here. So if I box select everything, including the top of the stem there, I can rotate it. If I go to front view, I have a little bit more control. And then I can rotate R. And it is stretching everything here, that's fine. We can always fix it. If I do GX or Y, depending on which way you're looking at it. I'll just move it a little bit over here, and I can move this up, G set, like that. I also want to scale this a little bit larger. I just did Alt and then left clicked on an edge here, and that'll get me everything around there, and then I can scale. It's not quite connecting to the flower, so if I go to side view or front view here, I can move it in a bit. It doesn't matter that it's intersecting here. You won't see much of it anyway from the top of the flower. Okay, so now we have the flower bent a bit. We need to bend the stem a bit as well. So I'm still in X-ray here, so I can select through, and I'll just move it. I don't want to move it off the ground, so instead of having to be in top view or front view or side view, I can just constrain to only moving on X and Y exactly the way that we scale. So G, Shift, Set. Now I can only move it in X and Y, I think. Yes. Okay, let's try that again. So G, Shift, Set. Now I can't move it up. And now I don't want a ton of movement here, just a little bit, just to get it a little bit crooked. Right, so G, Shift, Set. And if you remember to scale around your object here, from this angle it looks still very straight. Now I don't need to constrain, I can just hit G and just move it a little bit so it's not straight from that side. And that should do it. It might have been a bit too much. Okay, now since I have my edge loops here, I can snap my leaf to it. I still haven't doubled the face here because I want it in place before I start doing that. So if I do G while I hover my mouse over the top, actually let me bring it down a bit so I can see what I'm doing. Something like that. Okay, if I hover my mouse here and hit G and then move and then hit Control, I will snap it. Apparently I will snap it from the center. That was not my intention. Let's try it again. Keep it here. G, hold Control, snap to one of these. Actually, so now I got it in the general area where I want it, but right now it's a very thin connection to the plant right there. So after I snapped it, I might move it a little bit into the stem and move around to make sure it's in the stem and not to the side of it. So now it looks like it's connected. It's a very large leaf here. I want to scale it down. Now, if I scale it down now, I lose my connection. That's really annoying. So if I put my cursor there, that will make things easier. So I select that little vertex there, and then I go Shift S, whoop, hold S down to have it stay there, and then I can do cursor to selected. See my little red and white circle that ends there. And now if I go up here just next to global, I can choose my transform pivot point to be 3D cursor. Now all my transformations will be relative to that point. So if I hover over here and hit L and now try scale, it will be scaling from that point. It will also rotate from that point, so I can move my leaf up and down as I like. I'd like it a little bit further up, and I'd also like it to not be straight but perhaps crooked a bit. So something like that. And I can copy this now, zoom into the edge somewhat, and then go Shift D and just move it down a tiny little bit. I'm creating the underside now, and I need to flip the normals here, so Alt in, flip, and now I have a backside. If I want to make a new leaf, it's easiest if I just grab the upper side here. Was that the upper side? No. L on that one. I can copy this down, get it arranged like we did with this one, and then make the backside as well. And that's how I would make the leaves on the flower. Now, I don't need to have you sit through me making the other ones. Now you know how. So here's our little peony with one leaf. And that's pretty much where we are at. See you in class.